Okay, so today's conversation is about women, aging, perimenopause, menopause, and I invited our master trainer, Caroline, to be here with us. Hey.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. And I thought about, okay, I'm going to invite a powerful female woman that also knows so much about fitness. And let's talk a little bit more about you and your fitness background. You have like a intense, expanded career in fitness, right?
Yes.
Do you want to share a little bit more?
Well, I started at the age of 45. So I had 2 children, and I had sort of been going to the gym a little bit and playing with weights, not doing anything serious. And I asked the guy at the front, I said, do you have anything I can take? Because I'm feeling pretty good and I can see my body changing.
But was that when you started your fitness journey at that age?
Yes, 45. It was 2008.
Had no knowledge whatsoever about supplements and any experience in fitness prior to that?
Well, I was always growing up from a very young age. I was a ballet dancer. I did tap and jazz, the whole thing until I was 18. And then I was always very sports. I was play, softball, volleyball, everything, basketball in school. But then got married and decided just would go to the gym and I would spend an hour on the stair climber. That's all I would do. Okay. But then I started playing around with the weights. So got into it a little bit. And there was a gentleman there that was like, oh, do this, this, and this. And I was like, oh. And I started noticing my body changing. But I had a terrible diet. It was sugar.
So what made you to pursue the fitness career, to become a trainer? So when, if you go back, like when that shift happened for you?
That day in the nutrition shop, someone in the shop overheard me talking to the gentleman behind the counter. He was the manager at Gold's, and he overheard me and he said, where do you train? And I said, oh, I train at Gold's Gym. He goes, I'm the manager. I've never seen you there. And I go, well, I go at 4 o'clock. And he goes, all right, my office tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'll have you on stage in a year. I said, are you insane? I'm 45. I have 2 kids, and so he said, okay, we're going to go to he took me to my first bodybuilding competition. And I was like, I can never look like that. He goes, oh yeah. And in a year, I did.
You did.
Trained with him 3 days a week in the gym with him at Gold's. And 1 year later, 2009, I did the Gold's Classic in Wilmington, North Carolina.
And how did you decide, okay, now I'm going to take this knowledge, I'm going to become a trainer, I'm going to help people?
That came years later because I got addicted. I wanted to compete. It was my everything. It changed my life. But
in which level?
I started it in figure, but at the time figure was very, they wanted to go less muscle, but I was gaining some muscle even at that age. So everybody said, you better go women's physique. It was the new division.
Which area can you really say, okay, through, this journey, you really opening up besides the physical body? Were you tapping into that aspect as well, the mind?
That's the hardest. The food aspect and what you can't eat and what you cannot do. Here's an example. My trainer, I was at work. I was a licensed esthetician. I had my own little esthetician. I'm still a licensed esthetician, but nobody knows this. And I remember we had pizza, and I called him, and I said, JJ, can I have a pizza? We're having pizza. I was just thinking, are you insane? And he goes, is it a cheat day? And I was like, no. He's like, you can't have anything that isn't on your diet, and slam down the phone. And I was just like, this is crazy. But that's when it hit me that you can't cheat with ice cream. You can't just have a little bit here, a little bit there. But I had 2 kids, and I had to make my son his peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to go to school. So I would be sniffing the peanut butter jar because I wanted peanut butter.
So, so passing forward, you're like, now I want to help. I want to become a trainer, and in 2 days, like with your clients, how do you discipline them to become, success in their fitness journey?
Okay, when you're a competitor, and I think you know this, you have a goal. And I never wanted to embarrass myself or my trainer and stand on that stage and embarrass anyone. And I had somebody tell me, one of my clients, when I was an esthetician, said, "You're going to do a show, you're going to embarrass all of us." And I was like, "Oh, watch." So I always made sure that I was on stage the best fitness I could be, like the best conditioned, it was what it was called. But now fast forward to when I became a trainer, that's the hardest part for people, because food is something everyone identifies with, and they don't really understand that you really need to feed your body, especially if you're in this intense environment. And even if you're just wanting to change, maybe lose 15 pounds, you really have to eat more. It's no longer processed foods. It's no longer quick meals. These are nutrient dense things, carbs. You have to have your carbs. That's what feeds our brain.
And so talking about the perimenopause, menopause, and the changes that we go through, that's not only physically, but mentally and also emotionally, even like spiritually, because everything changed. And that's that separation. Like for me, in my case, I'm 50, and
So you're just starting.
I'm just starting. But when I started to feel the
Something different.
and for me, it was like the hot flashes and like the mood swings and emotionally too, like this unbalanced. I kind of like felt like the separation of the body, which was confusing to me because I felt, okay, now I'm going through this. Now my body would function differently. Now what should I do to combine it with everything and start feeling good again? So the steps that we have to take to feel whole again during this process of perimenopause, if we don't have the right knowledge or ways of doing it, it can be draining and emotionally devastating, right? How was for you 45 and you were about to put yourself on a stage, right? And you were feeling some of this transformation that was going on, the imbalance. Did you feel hormones imbalance or everything or no?
Yeah, you do. I mean, looking back, I don't know if I started then, because my periods were pretty regular at that time. I had a pretty solid menstrual cycle. And as you cut out so much fat from your diet, things do get different. And I will say, looking back, staying in that mode of really eating clean really helps with those symptoms. So I believe there's a definite connection to your food and how you feel when you're going through this time. Because let me turn this around for you.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone ever told you what even menopause is or what perimenopause is?
Well, yeah, the way I grew up and how there was never a conversation. There was never a conversation. So it's like, oh, it's here. And of course, there are some, it might be some people that they kind of want to accept it, that, okay, this is how I should feel. But there are also ways of minimizing the symptoms. And I was terrifying about the hormones replacement because I didn't know, or like, if am I going to gain weight? And this is the main thing that, for me, I have a range of weight that I like to be in. I was like, if I'm starting to take A, B, or C, am I going to gain weight? About cancer, people say that if you start inject, adding this into your body in the future, you might, have some cancer. So all of this,
Scary, isn't it?
it's still a lot of, we have to have so much knowledge and conversations like this. How was for you?
Well, for me, and I can only account for me because I have heard, like my mother, she didn't have any symptoms, nothing. She went through it without, like, I don't even remember hearing anything. I don't remember any kind of mood swings or anything, or her talking about that. But how I became aware, all of a sudden, my menstrual cycles were intense. I mean, where, oh my gosh, I got to stay home for 3 days. So if you're going through products like this, where you cannot like even go out, you really need to seek medical care. Not in an emergency base, but hey, I need to talk to a hormone specialist or somebody who says, this is not normal. Okay, so we need to ring this back in, right? Because if you go through that, you're now anemic because you've had 3 days of just, your body is exhausted. So you're tired. Then the biggest thing for me was I couldn't sleep. And sleep, if we as human beings do not get our sleep, you get your brain fog, you have anxiety, your cortisol levels, which is another thing that we have to address. All of those are affected because what's happening for me, we start our menstrual cycles at around 15, is about normal, 13 to 15. And you're doing this now until all of a sudden, I'm no longer doing this. Your body completely changes.
And one thing is, we don't need to suffer to go, right? And there are ways, and it changed for me when I started doing the hormones replacement. It changed for me, and I started to, I'm feeling myself again. I'm feeling myself.
Did you look in the mirror? And I ask women this, when you look in the mirror, you don't even recognize yourself.
Yeah.
You don't see that same person and you don't understand, why am I getting this? What is happening? And now let's go into the training that needs to happen at that.
So if a client comes to you, so here are the fitness, the average, female and woman that comes to class around my age, your age, our age, a client will come to you feeling off, right? And all of the, lack of energy, lack of sex drive, sleep, and gain weight. And they feel, it's because age or because I'm aging. What would you tell this client as a step towards a feeling better,
giving themselves
lifestyle?
Well, first, what I like to tell women is give yourself some grace. This is really
so much pressure.
Our society wants us as women to be super women. And it's not I believe in women empowerment, but I also believe that, you know what? You can be tired and it's okay. You can be a little lazy one day. That house doesn't have to be perfectly clean today. Mm-hmm. Take that rest, take that time, because your body is changing completely.
But I also would say take the steps.
And take the steps. Make sure I tell, for instance, I have a client and she is my client at this time, and she's 52 and asked me to help her. And I said, please go to your doctor.
So first thing you'd say would be what?
Go to your physician. Okay, go to your physician and talk to them about, you have to get your hormones tested. Yes, you have to. Do you want to know what her doctor told her? Huh? In 2026, we don't test your hormones. You're going through menopause. You just have to go through it.
Look for another doctor.
My head almost blew off because you know how I'm a little bit, and everybody that knows me knows I'm like, what? So I said, please, because everything she talked about, the craving of sugars it's intense, and it's not something that you can say, I'm not going to eat this today. But then you have to get that help. And with, say, like with myself, my menstrual cycles were so heavy, they had to say, okay, I wasn't sleeping, your menstrual, we have to put you on progesterone. Yep. Okay? And game changing. I sleep. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you, yes, see, right? And then your brain fog is gone. Your anxiety is gone, because when you don't sleep, cortisol levels rise, your anxiety rises. And what does that do to you? It makes you angry. It makes you a little more paranoid of what's happening to me. And so that's what I feel women need to, we need to tell women,
it's okay.
it's
and
okay.
yeah.
And this
But
is
there's so much pressure, you know, like in this anti-aging thing. And
well, you know, I feel this, that as we age, our society here, now I'm not going to say in other cultures it's the same, because I don't believe it is. As we age, our society says you're no longer worthy and you're no longer beautiful. And I think we have to change that.
it is, when you say our society, we're talking about people like us. It is our speech, and how also we embrace aging, how we can, you know, yes, we feel this way, but also there are so many parts of this evolution, right? Because as humans, and women especially, we go through so many phases in life to become this powerful being. Exactly. and it is, and if we can see and celebrate also the phases that we have to go through in life, which is way more complex than a man. You know, we know that, but and don't stop to do the steps that we have to do to regain our confidence, because we can totally let go and lose our confidence, self-esteem when we're going through this perimenopause and menopause phase.
And once you come out on the other side, you have to have that new way of training, new way of eating, and new way of being. But now we're wiser, we're smarter, and we have a lot to offer. I mean, we do. Yes. When we get to that point, you can really help the generation coming up. And that's what I love. It's, do not let somebody tell you that it's in your head, because it's not. It's not. And finally, I think it's been this year that we took the black label off of HRT for women. Mm-hmm. Why can't we feel good? And why can't we empower other women to feel good through this transition and come out with that empowerment going, I made it through. And now it's another step and another, you know, degree of your life that it opens up all sorts of things for you to do. Yeah, and beautiful things.
So I have a few questions left for you. So what it means for you today, like to be your true self?
I want to help others, and that's where I figured it out. And I don't let anything stop me from doing that. The only thing I want to do is give, like, my knowledge of bodybuilding. The best thing I ever did, I put a girl on stage.
And that's my next question to you. If a client here at Art of Fitness is feeling motivated right now and say, I want to be on stage, it does not matter the age, agree? And how long would take you to prep someone to be on stage?
Depends on where they are and if they have to lose any type of, you know, where they are muscle-wise and what they have, you know, what they come in with. But it was my biggest accomplishment in life, was putting her on that stage. Okay. And I was crying. She's like, why are you crying? And I was like, standing on stage myself is one thing, you know, it's an accomplishment. But when you put someone from starting from nothing, she was very young. And the girl came to me and said, I just want to lose 10 pounds. And I looked right at her and I said, and don't you ask me to put you on stage. I'm not doing it. And she was like, I won't. I just want to lose 10 pounds before my 21st birthday. She was on stage next year.
See, so the clients that are listening to this and want to really transform physically, mentally, and spiritually, because it takes, as us as a whole.
It does.
Come and talk. Find Carolyn here at Out of Fitness, and thank you so much. This
has been great.
it's a great conversation. Thank you.
And I hope that it opened it up that if you ever, I'm through I'm postmenopausal. And another thing, of course, I was just diagnosed with cancer, so I've come on the other side of that. I'm clear. So if anybody needs that help, because that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes.
That if you come through something like that, and if you need that support, and you do, to find out what's happening in your world. But
And we're gonna have the other conversation again soon.
do that.
Thank you, love.
You're welcome. It was wonderful. Thank you. It's like a family here.
Yes.
We are. We definitely are.